Good afternoon. My name is Anna Szczerba, and I'm Director of the Company Law Department at TGC Corporate Lawyers. I'm very pleased to welcome you to our webinar on company formation in Poland, which is part of Doing Business in Poland webinar series. During the webinar, we encourage you to ask questions via chat. If we do not manage to answer them, we will contact you after the event. We will also provide you with a recording from the webinar. So let's start from agenda of our meeting. We will talk about business forms in Poland, what are your options, about company registration step by step, ultimate beneficial owner reporting and formal requirements, e-delivery, bank account setup, from registration to operational company, and questions and answers sessions. A couple of words about myself. I'm within the organization from 2021. I'm expert with over 15 years experience in providing corporate services to Polish and foreign clients, including international capital groups. I specialize in advising on the establishment and day-to-day management of companies. So I have experience and I hope I will be able to answer all your questions. Business forms in Poland, what are your options? I decided to present you two options, which are the most popular options for our current clients, which is limited liability company and branch office. And I would like to show you a comparison between these two entities. So the purpose of limited liability company is any business purpose allowed by law, usually used by small and medium-sized business. But the purpose of branch office can be conducted only within the scope of activity of the foreign entrepreneur. And it's usually used for foreign companies which do not wish to establish their corporate presence in Poland. From our perspective, the most popular way of establishment of company is limited liability company. Limited liability company has legal personality, and the branch office does not have legal personality. Who can found these entities? So, limited liability company can be founded by one or more individuals or legal persons or organizational units without legal personality, which was granted a legal capacity on the basis of a special act, for example, partnerships. And the founder of the branch office is foreign entrepreneur. The share capital is required in the limited liability company, and the minimum share capital is 5,000 PLN, when in branch office, we do not have this requirement. Here, very important part, also connected with liability, governing bodies of the company. So, in limited liability company, we have shareholders meeting, management board consisting of at least one person, and it doesn't have to be Polish citizen. Supervisory board, it is not general, it's not obligatory, and the company can also be represented by commercial proxy. And in branch office, representation of the branch is by a management board of the foreign entrepreneur. But the branch has to appoint the branch manager. Accountancy, full accounting in Polish is required for both options. And liability. Company is liable for its debts and obligations with its whole property without any limitations in limited liability company. The shareholders are not liable for the company's obligations. They bear a risk up to the value of shares taken up. But the directors bear personal liability for the company debts and obligations if they do not comply with their legal obligations. In branch office, full liability is on foreign entrepreneur. A person representing a foreign entrepreneur in the branch office is not responsible for the liabilities of the branch or the foreign entrepreneur himself. the branch representative does not bear liability for tax liabilities of the branch or the foreign entrepreneur himself. So this part is quite important, that when we establish a limited liability company and we have to appoint management board members, and their liability and responsibility is much broader than the branch manager, who is only appointed in the branch, being kind of representative. And incorporation, couple of words about incorporation. Limited liability company, the following is generally required for the creation of a limited liability company. First of all, and the most important, conclusion of the articles of association. This is the most important document of the company. Contributions to share capital to be made by shareholders, cash or in kind. As I said, we have to appoint management board, supervisory board in some cases, and the company needs to be registered in the National Card Register as a first step. And for branch office, in order to establish the branch office, we have to arrange resolution on establishment of the branch office in Poland. And such resolutions needs to be adopted according to the law of the foreign entrepreneur. From our experience, the most popular way of such resolution is resolution of the management board of the foreign entrepreneur. We have to appoint the representative of the branch office, so the branch manager. We also gather corporate documents of the mother company, like articles of association, like card register excerpts. We have to decide about the seat of the company as well. And with all this information, we register the branch in the National Card Register. What is also important, that the limited liability company actually is kind of organization from the moment of signing articles of association. So it is called limited liability company in organization, and in relation to branch, the branch can only act after registration in the National Card Register. I said about establishment, but we also have an option for clients who would like to start business very quickly. So to save time and trouble, ready-made shelf companies are available for purchase within a couple of days. So we have shelf companies. These are companies already established in the National Card Register. They have card number, NIP number, which is tax number, VAT, VAT EU number, REGON number, which is statistical number, very important, bank account already opened. So such company, which we can offer for you, can act quickly straight after transfer of shares. So this is option for clients who would like to save time of registration and start activities very quickly. Of course, in order to purchase shelf company, we will also need to arrange documents from the client, so corporate documents, mostly power of attorney from the company which is going to buy the shares, or from the person who is going to buy the shares, and also documents for changing bank authorization rights. However, in general, it is quicker way of starting business. So if you also would be interested in this type of establishment, we can support you. And I also wanted to tell you about limited liability company registration step by step in two options. So I just wanted to give you a full overview how it looks. We have two options through S24 system, which is totally online, and through PRS card office, which is card registration, combined with notarial deed. I will briefly say at this stage that S24 system is mostly for Polish citizens. It is difficult option for foreigners because in order to register the company via S24 internet system, you need to have an active account on S24 system confirmed by electronic signature or trusted profile ePUAP. ePUAP is possible only with having PESEL number. So generally, this step is quite difficult to achieve for foreigners at such initial stage. But I decided to tell you about this option as well, so you have full overview that in this type of opening a company, you sign articles of association where standard is presented in the card. So it is like a standard agreement with limited scope of articles. You have to pay contributions to share capital, which needs to be made by the shareholders, cash only in this case. You have to appoint management board, supervisory board in some cases, and full registration in card also requires opening bank account actually and payment of share capital. So how it works in S24 system, that we first create a company on the portal. It should be from 1 till 3 days to register the company, but then we have only 7 days to submit to the card information about payment of share capital. And this step can be difficult to achieve because within 7 days it is quite difficult to open a bank account. And we always recommend to open bank account, pay share capital to the bank account, and then submit such statement to the card register. So that's why this solution, so the 7-day period and also establishment of the whole company in the Polish system, in the Polish language, and having trusted ePUAP signature, let's say, or electronic signature is quite difficult for foreigners at the beginning to arrange. And via Perez card office, the procedure is quite different. And what is required? A first step is signing articles of association in front of the notary. And here we have more possibilities because we can insert broader scope like privilege of voting rights, increase of share capital without change of articles of association. And we can actually have some additional clauses which are not possible in comparison to S24 system. Contributions to share capital can be made by shareholders cash or in kind. We have to appoint the management board, supervisory board in some cases as well, and we register the company in the National Cards Register. However, in this scenario, we act like this, that we sign articles of association first, then we open a bank account and pay share capital. So here, opening bank account is a second step. And once the share capital is paid, we register the company in the card register. So complete the motion also online, but with already paid share capital. And here I presented a slide about ultimate beneficial owner reporting and formal requirements. The Polish Anti-Money Laundering and Anti-Terrorist Financing Act introduced the Central Ultimate Beneficial Owner Register. Companies and partnerships are obliged to provide information to the UBO register on their ultimate beneficial owners within 14 working days from the moment of entering the company into the National Cards Register. And this is very important, that such information shall be sent to the register via electronic form and signed with electronic signature. I will tell a little bit more about it on my next slide. In case of already provided information, the update to the UBO register should be provided also within 14 working days from the change of information. And you should also remember about this. The maximum fine for not filing UBO is up to 1 million PLN, so quite high. I haven't seen in my practice such high fine, but we all should be aware that the law says so, and that such fine can be imposed. That's why we should bear in mind this slide and remember to provide any changes. If any changes in the UBO structure happens, we should inform the ultimate beneficial owner, the ultimate beneficial register about it. And also, you should inform about such changes your accounting office and bank, because they are obliged for AML procedure, and they should be also informed about clients' changes in the corporate structure. And now electronic tools in the process, registration process, and also during running of the company. So in Poland, e-signature, qualified e-signature is required. And I will tell you why and when actually. So as I said, signing ultimate beneficial owner motion, signing financial statements, signing tax forms, and here I can say that it is recommended to arrange electronic signature with encrypted PESEL number. PESEL is Polish identity number, also used for tax purposes. And some tax forms require signing of tax declarations with a signature with encrypted PESEL number. This means that we have two options of arranging electronic signature. We can arrange such signature based on passport data, where is given the nationality, the date of birth, and the information about when the passport finishes. And it can be also done based on PESEL, and this solution is recommended because PESEL does not change, is forever. And as I said, some documents, actually tax documents, requires a signature with this PESEL number. And of course, you can sign agreements, bank documents with this electronic signature. So it also helps you day-to-day work, because now it is very useful and practice solution. A-seal. What is A-seal? A-seal is not a electronic signature, is something different, because electronic signature is issued for the natural person. So for example, Anna Szczerba, yes? And A-seal is issued for the company. And since from the 1st of April this year, we have national e-invoicing system, it is recommended to have access to the XEF system based on this seal. In such solution does not show the PESEL number of the electronic signature in this invoicing system. And also by this electronic stamp, you can grant XEF rights for other users. So this is recommended solution. Most of our clients use it right now for XEF, and it is something which we also can arrange for you. And additionally, You can also use this e-seal for confirmation of some company documents. So for practicable side, the same as with signing agreements and e-signature. So these are two tools which are now actually required. So here is just a summary that from 2018, all financial statements needs to be prepared and signed electronically. So even now, there is no possibility to prepare financial statement in paper form. The same is with director's report, which is additional document prepared at the end of financial year. Trusted electronic signatures obtained in different countries may cause some technical problems. So we recommend to use one of electronic trusted signature providers from Poland. This is from our practice. We know that even when clients from other EU countries presented their signature on the documents, financial documents, we had problems with entering such documents into the card register. That's why we rather recommend to arrange electronic signature through the Polish provider. Ultimate beneficial owner notification must be also signed with trusted electronic signature, as I said, or ePUAP. And a couple of words about e-delivery. This is now a very good solution for the companies and obligatory actually solution for companies, from public offices, for tax offices. So the e-delivery service enables its users to send, receive, and store correspondence online. E-delivery must not be equated with electronic mail. This is a distinct trust service which ensures safety, integrity, and reliability. The legal effect of correspondence delivered via e-delivery is equal to traditional postal delivery with acknowledgement of receipt. Each entrepreneur has to apply to the Minister of Digitalization for assigning of an individual address for e-deliveries. This is very important that the company has such a delivery box, and we can also assist you with establishment of such a delivery box, administer it. But I wanted to mention during this presentation that now many offices and many companies are using this, and in the future, it is the only way actually how we will work. So your company, if still doesn't have a delivery box, should have it as soon as possible. And I also had some separate presentation on a delivery service, and this is quite broader a subject. So here I only mentioned that we have such requirements. If you need more information, I can also send it to you after the webinar. Bank account. Limited liability companies should have active bank account when the party of the transaction from which the payment results is another entrepreneur. When the company applies for VAT refund, this is very important, and the one-off value of the transaction, regardless of the number of payments resulting from it, exceeds the equivalent of PLN 15,000, with transactions in foreign currencies being converted into PLN at the average exchange rate of the foreign currencies announced by the National Bank of Poland. And in order to open bank account, bank conducts KYC procedure and verifies ultimate beneficial owner and the client's group structure. So there's also possibility to open a bank account remotely without presence in Poland, but it is really recommended that the company has a bank in a Polish bank account. How the process of opening bank account works. Bank checks the client, so he checks detailed AML and KYC procedure. Then it is required signing bank forms in presence of bank clerk or remotely based on notarized and apostilled documents. Bank expect registration documents showing ultimate beneficial ownership structure and detailed description of conducting business in Poland. So I also decided to give you some common blockers, to give you the examples. So when the type of the business is quite risky, with not clarified specified purpose of conducting business in Poland, this is important. So when we establish bank account in Poland, the bank wants to have information about running business in Poland, not abroad. Of course, when there is there are people who can be on sanctions list, it is not possible to open a bank account. And shareholding structure documents. So bank checks very carefully the shareholding document. So when we have complex or complicated structure, then banks checks everything and may ask you for providing additional documents. So, for example, we submit to bank one document about the owner, and only when the bank see this document and see who is the owner, he may ask for ownership documents of the next owner. And this procedure is practiced by the bank up to the natural person who has more than 25% of shares or who has control on the company. So generally, this exercise can be difficult because sometimes we are not able to tell our clients at this initial first stage what documents will be required by bank. Yes, generally, bank asks this quick KYC questions. It is easier when the company has already running business in other country because the bank can see the website. But of course, in case of totally new companies, the bank conducts a very detailed procedure. So let's summarize from registration to operational company. First, when you would like to start your business in Poland, you should select type of the company and way of establishment. So I did not present you all types of companies, but I think that due to the fact that the most common is limited liability company, I gave you comparison between limited liability company and branch, and you can decide about way of establishment, whether it will be establishment or from scratch or buying the shares in a shelf company, ready-made shelf company. Yes, signing articles of association, choosing the seat. So you should sign lease agreement. This is the most popular type of contract because the ownership of the real property at such initial stage is very rare. So you have to decide about the seat, about the city where you will be running your business. Organizing PESEL number for management board members. This section I mentioned during my presentation about electronic signature. So we encourage you to organize PESEL number at this initial stage. Opening bank account, registration in the card, establishment of e-delivery box, ultimate beneficial owner registration within 14 working days. As I said, you have to remember about this. Tax registration, including VAT, choosing your accounting service provider, because each limited liability company and branch should have accounting service provider. Social Security Office registration, in case when the company is going to employ, such registration will be required. Arranging electronic signature for management board members and electronic stamp for the company. And staying compliant with corporate tax and accounting regulations. So finally, I will briefly talk how we can support you when entering the Polish market or within ongoing operations. So first, setting up a business in Poland, we can advise you on choosing an optimal form of conducting business activity. We can give you advisory on choosing the optimal form of taxation, opening a company or a branch, registration for tax purposes, opening a bank account, establishing an electronic signature registration in the Central Register of Beneficial Owners. And when you start operations in Poland, we can support you with employment of staff, preparation of employment contracts, cooperation contracts, registration of the company and employees for social insurance. We can provide accounting services, tax advisory, HR and payroll services, corporate secretarial services, compliance, GDPR compliance. So in order to have broader knowledge about the requirements related to running company and business in Poland, I encourage you to register for our next sessions. On June 9th, taxation in Poland, June 16th, accounting in Poland and KSEF, and June 23rd, employment in Poland. We are right now 1 minute after our time. So I suggest if you have questions, please write me in email. You have my contact details at the presentation. And if any of you have additional questions to our experts, please indicate the areas in which you need assistance. Thank you very much for participating in our webinar and for all your questions. As previously announced, we will provide you with the recording of the event. Feel free to contact us if you have any questions. Thank you for your attention.